This isn't an ocean, or even a sea. This is Lake Ohrid, the largest body of water in the Balkans, and one of the oldest, deepest lakes in all of Europe. But back when an intensely paranoid dictator vacationed here, the entire zone we're walking through right now was heavily guarded by armed military police. Ordinary Albanians, well, they would be arrested just for approaching the perimeter. While the dictator Enver Hoxha totally isolated Albania for 41 years, the citizens of neighboring Macedonia, which also shared this same lake, actually had the freedom to travel abroad, access Western media, and listen to foreign music. We've broken this video down into chapters, so you can easily skip ahead or jump back to any section you like. Lake Ohrid gets its life from two main water sources, this Drilon spring right here in Albania and Sveti Naum just across the border. But before a major border shift in 1925, both of these massive water systems belonged entirely to Albania. Today, this water still travels completely underground. It sinks down from Lake Prespa, which sits 150 meters higher up, filtering slowly through the limestone mountains before bursting out right at our feet. If you are new to the channel, that is Kathy today in red, whispering to the horses. When we visited Drilon, we were actually into the second week of a 3-week road trip through Albania. Pogradec was our 4th stop, and we chose it mostly because of its proximity to North Macedonia, which we also visited. We were just completely fascinated with this country, the hospitality of the people, the food, and we had this beautiful weather you see right now, right throughout our stay. Though it's still considered a relatively little-known destination, Albania has been attracting a lot of tourists over the last few years. And because of that, traditional waterside restaurants are popping up right along the springs, followed closely by these massive new hotels. Right next to these modern developments, you still find local farmers setting up small stalls to sell their fresh vegetables. This really looked like a wonderful place to get some food, so we thought we'd join the others who were already seated outdoors, just enjoying this beautiful weather we've been having. It didn't take long before we had some company under the table. Kathy started feeding this stray cat, and then, sure enough, a dog wandered over to join the circle and get a share of the food too. Oh no, there goes my sausages. Though we saw stray cats and dogs almost everywhere we went in Albania, the animals all seemed to be remarkably well fed and quite healthy. Before we head into the Drilon Protected Water Reserve to traverse its narrow paths, walk across the boardwalks and find shelter under the weeping willows, let's take a look at these old restaurants built directly above the springs. They've been here a long time, and they have some stories to tell. Imagine, back in the mid-20th century, only high-ranking communist officials were allowed to sit right where these tables are today. This peaceful oasis, well, it was actually one of the favorite retreats of Albania's dictator, Enver Hoxha. When he came to Drilon, the whole area was placed under heavy military security, with guards controlling access and watching his every move. But today, the atmosphere is completely different. Visitors can just enjoy lunch above the crystal clear water, watch the ducks glide through the channels, and enjoy what has become one of the most relaxing spots in the country. When you look at water this clear, it helps you realize why Albania's environment is so incredibly special. Much of Europe dammed and managed its waterways a long time ago. But here, the rivers and springs still flow completely unobstructed, following their own ancient paths directly from the high mountains. Because these ecosystems haven't been touched by heavy industry or massive concrete channels, the water retains this incredible, almost glass-like purity. It's created these massive, wild freshwater networks where the wildlife can just thrive in total peace, exactly the way nature intended. And it honestly feels like you're stepping back into a much simpler time. We're heading into the main part of the Drilon National Park now, to explore its quiet paths, hidden bridges, and the incredible nature waiting inside. As we walk along this lakeside road, those massive, striking mountains right in front of us are actually in North Macedonia. The international border is less than 2 kilometers away, and that range is part of the Dictator National Park, which separates this lake from Lake Prespa on the other side. We'll be sharing videos from our travels through North Macedonia very soon, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss those stories. And if you're enjoying this walk, hitting the like button really helps send those positive signals to the YouTube algorithm, so others can find this content too. Now, we are approaching the old summer residence of the dictator Enver Hoxha, which you can just catch a glimpse of behind these trees. During the communist era, this was a private villa built specifically for him to spend his summer months, typically in July and August. Because of the natural springs and dense greenery, it was chosen as his ultimate high-security retreat. When he was staying here, this entire perimeter you see was completely locked down by state guards, with absolutely no access allowed for ordinary citizens. Today, the architecture is still preserved exactly as it was back in the 1970s, though it has been repurposed now as a cultural space, sitting perfectly quiet under the willow trees. Moving deeper into the park, these stone paths give way to rustic wooden boardwalks. It completely shifts the mood, pulling you right under a dense canopy of ancient trees. These beautifully crafted humpback wooden bridges cross over the narrow water channels. They connect the tiny, isolated islands scattered throughout the swamp, and walking over them gives you a perfect vantage point to watch the currents below. Everything slows down to a crawl out here. The water is so still. It works like a mirror. You can actually hire a local guide to row you down these peaceful channels. It's an incredibly quiet way to drift through the park, and it feels miles away from the rest of the world.
I was wondering what's the thing on the top.
For the locals living near Lake Ohrid, this park has always been a favorite weekend escape. It's a place where families come to walk, and where old friends gather to sit by the banks and just talk for hours. Seeing how they share this beautiful corner of their country, it really makes you feel welcome. Thank you so much for walking with us today through Drilon. It's been beautiful sharing this journey with you, and we'll see you in the next video.